Incredible revelation. Maid's heartwarming protection of Millionaire's special child leads to life-altering friendship. Maria's heart raced as she wiped the Thompson family's marble countertops, each swipe echoing with the silent weight of their affluence. In the upscale suburb of Willow Creek, the Thompsons represented everything she wasn't. As she moved through their pristine home, the glistening dishes and spotless floors contrasted sharply with the clutter and chaos of her own life. Levi, her special needs son, deserved so much more than what they could afford. But Maria was determined, conquering each day with grit and love. Her hands brushed against a picture of the Thompson family, all smiles and designer clothes. Cut deep. She often wondered if they could even comprehend her struggles, how hard she fought to make ends meet while raising a child with unique challenges. It hurt, but her heart stayed open, for her little Levi was what brought her joy amid the struggle. She'd fight for him endlessly, much like her late father, a veteran, had fought for his country. Then came the day that changed everything. Maria stood in the school parking lot, the morning sun bright but overshadowed by dread. Whispers had slithered through the hallways, rumors of her son being bullied. A knot twisted in her stomach, and she sprinted toward the entrance, eyes wide with anxiety. When she found Levi in the nurse's office, his big blue eyes were filled with fear, his small frame trembling. That was it. The protective instinct surged within her. "Hey, buddy. I'm right here," she whispered, wrapping her arms around him tightly. It was more than a hug. It was a vow. She'd shield him from the world outside, no matter the cost. As she mopped the floors of the Thompson home later that day, the weight of class divisions felt heavier. Did they know? Did they even care? Unbeknownst to Maria, trouble brewed for the Thompsons. A scandal erupted, something scandalous that threatened their shiny facade. As rumors spread, whispers of her loyalty clashed against her own need for justice for her son. Torn between two worlds, she felt the divide grow deeper. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With tears in her eyes, Maria stood up for the Thompsons in their moment of crisis, searching for a sense of human connection in a sea of indifference. Her voice trembled as she confronted them, expressing her concerns for Levi and the neglect that he faced. "You don't understand. He needs protection, understanding, not just sympathy." Words spilled from her heart like a dam broken wide. But the silence that followed left her hollow. Their arrogance dripped like poison, misunderstanding filling the air. Maria retreated into herself, realizing she stood alone, a warrior with no allies. Both families seemed worlds apart, and yet each felt the burn of judgment, the sting of responsibility. And as night fell, a glimmer of hope flickered in the dim light. Would anyone recognize the stubborn bond forged through adversity? Would the line between cleaner and wealthy family finally dissolve in shared struggle? Maria clung to that hope, knowing well that the coming days would test her in ways she could never imagine. The next morning, Maria woke up with a sense of determination stirring within her. The sun peeked through the window, casting a warm glow that bathed her small kitchen. Levi was still asleep, lost in a dream world where nothing bothered him. She tiptoed around the clutter, quietly preparing breakfast, her thoughts tangled in the events of the previous day. As she whisked eggs in a bowl, a knock on the door startled her. It was Mrs. Thompson, dressed impeccably, her designer sun hat perched on her head. Maria's heart sank as she remembered the coldness of the previous confrontation. Yet curiosity flickered. Had they finally come to understand what she was trying to convey? "Maria," Mrs. Thompson's voice rang out, almost too cheerful. "Can I come in?" Of course, Maria replied, unsure of what to expect. She stepped aside, letting the woman enter her modest home. The contrast was stark. Mrs. Thompson seemed out of place among the faded cushions and clutter of toys. "I wanted to talk to you about Levi," she said, her expression serious now. "I heard there was trouble?" "Yes," Maria sighed, the weight of her worry spilling out. "He has been bullied, and I'm afraid it's getting worse." Mrs. Thompson pursed her lips, her brows furrowing with concern. Maria caught a glimpse of humanity behind the polished exterior. "I had no idea," she said softly, "and here I thought our problems were significant." The conversation turned, feelings exchanged like delicate gifts. Maria shared Levi's struggles, his fear, and her own relentless drive to be his shield. Mrs. Thompson listened intently, uncharacteristically quiet. As the words flowed, Maria could see a different light in the woman's eyes, a shadow of understanding. "It sounds like Levi needs support," she finally spoke, her voice steady. "I'm willing to help however I can." Maria's heart raced. "You do that? With your family? Parents can be blind sometimes. I want to make this right for both of you." It was a moment of unexpected kinship. Maria felt a flicker of hope reignite. Could this bridge be the one that connected their worlds? Mrs. Thompson extended her hand, offering a proposal. "May I invite Levi over this weekend? I want him to see that not everyone is against him and to feel safe." In her heart, Maria knew this invitation was more than just goodwill. It was a chance for Levi to experience a different, kinder environment. The doubts crept in. "What will others think?" she asked, feeling the weight of judgment. "Let them think what they want," Mrs. Thompson replied boldly. "This is about supporting a child who needs it." Overwhelmed with gratitude yet still cautious, Maria nodded slowly, allowing her heart to embrace the possibilities. As they planned the weekend, the two women began to bond, sharing stories of mothering, of love and sacrifice. When Mrs. Thompson left, Maria stood at the door, her heart pounding. Perhaps this connection wouldn't erase the differences between them, but it was a start. That night, as she tucked Levi into bed, Maria felt lighter. "Tomorrow, buddy, something good is happening," she whispered, pressing a soft kiss to his forehead. Levi smiled, his trust in her unwavering. But as she turned off the light, a nagging worry held her heart. What if the other parents turned their backs when they found out? What if it all fell apart again? The tension swirled in her gut as she lay down, unable to shake the uneasy feeling. In that moment, she realized it wasn't just about Levi's safety, but about bridging the gap between two worlds. There's a chance to change everything, she thought. But would the Thompsons truly stand by her side when the storm broke? As shadows danced on the wall, Maria closed her eyes, bracing for the challenges ahead. Tomorrow would test their newfound alliance, and she could only hope for understanding instead of judgment. The sun rose with a promise, filling Maria's heart with a cautious hope. She breathed in the morning air, fresh and tinged with possibility, as she prepared for what lay ahead. Levi was still asleep, tangled in his blanket, a picture of innocence. She tiptoed around the kitchen, her mind swirling with thoughts about the weekend ahead. Would the Thompsons really come through for them? Could they really bridge the gap between their worlds? As the clock ticked closer to breakfast time, Maria set the table, her hands trembling slightly. Each clink of the dishes echoed doubt. What if the other parents found out about Levi's invitation? Their harsh whispers could tear apart this newfound connection. The thought sent a chill through her. Levi finally stirred, his sleepy eyes blinking open. "Mom?" He smiled at her, and just like that, her worries faded for a moment. "What's for breakfast?" "Eggs and toast, your favorite," Maria replied, serving up the meal with a side of her best smile. She wanted to shield him from her turmoil, to keep his world bright even when hers felt cloudy. After breakfast, she and Levi talked about the upcoming visit. "You'll have fun, Levi. You deserve a chance to be with kids who care." She watched as excitement danced in his gaze, the kind of enthusiasm she hadn't seen for a long while. It made her heart swell, yet the conflict lingered. As they made their way to the Thompsons that Saturday, anxiety clutched at Maria's throat. She drove with one eye on the road and the other on Levi's face in the rearview mirror. His smile beamed with anticipation, each moment heightened by her fear. Pulling into the Thompsons' driveway, Maria's heart raced. The large house loomed ahead, its manicured lawn and expensive exterior making her feel both small and out of place. She reminded herself of the bond with Mrs. Thompson, but the judgment of others was still a looming threat. Levi hopped out of the car, bubbling with excitement as he raced towards the front door. Maria followed slowly, gripping the car's handle until her knuckles turned white. What was she really guarding against? Would Mrs. Thompson's world accept them? As the door swung open, Mrs. Thompson stood there, heartwarming and welcoming. She smiled brightly at Levi, who practically bounced on his feet. "There you are. Ready for an adventure?" Maria scanned the entrance, worried about the sight of other parents nearby, but they greeted her warmly, their smiles genuine. "We're so glad you came," one of them called. "It's great to have you here." Those simple words unraveled the storm brewing inside Maria. It felt like a soft blanket wrapped around her shoulders, easing her tension. Inside, the house hummed with children's laughter. Levi dashed towards a group of kids, and Maria's heart soared as she watched him engage effortlessly. The sound of joy filled the air in a way that made her smile widen. Yet as she stood nearby, a hushed conversation caught her attention. A couple of parents eyed her curiously, their whispers laced with skepticism. "Do you think she's really capable of looking after him?" one of them murmured. Maria's heart sank. Those words struck deep, and she fought the urge to retreat, to hide away in the safety of her insecurities. Instead, she took a breath, grounding herself. This was more than just about her and the Thompsons. It was about Levi finding his place, and she wouldn't let anyone destroy that. The party flowed, games were played, and slowly, kids began to include Levi in their activities. He laughed, his joy infectious, and her heart beat steady, finding solace in his happiness. But just when it seemed like everything was turning out well, Maria noticed a shift. The whispers grew more pronounced. Heads turned, frowns spread, and what had felt like acceptance started to shift into suspicion. "Did you hear?" Chiese Maid. The statement thundered through the air, stark and unyielding. The laughter faded, and Maria felt every gaze turn on her. The warmth she had felt moments ago dissipated, leaving a chill in her chest. She turned to Levi, who looked back at her, confusion clouding his eyes. In that moment, everything she had hoped for felt at risk of unraveling. Would this judgment eclipse the friendship they had started? Could she still protect Levi when the world seemed cruel and unyielding? As she stood there, heart racing, Maria knew she needed to decide. Would she confront this judgment head-on, or would she try to shield Levi from this painful reality? And then she made her choice. Maria took a deep breath, feeling the weight of every gaze on her, pulling her down like an anchor. "I can do this," she whispered to herself, focusing on Levi's wide eyes. She straightened her spine and walked toward the cluster of parents, her heart pounding with each step. She approached the group, determined to speak. "If you have something to say, I'd love to hear it directly," she said, her voice steady despite the storm brewing inside her. The tight smiles of the onlookers faltered, replaced by a flicker of surprise. For a moment, silence filled the air, heavy and tense. "Maid or not, this is about Levi," she continued, heart racing. "He deserves to play, to laugh, to be a kid without the burden of our backgrounds weighing on him." The words felt liberating, echoing her truth. The mothers exchanged glances, a mix of confusion and realization crossing their faces. Rather than retreating into judgment, one finally stepped forward, her brows furrowing. "I'm sorry if we offended you. It's just not what we're used to." "Well, change can be hard, right?" Maria replied, crossing her arms. Her heart was still pounding, but she felt the warmth of resolve growing within her. "It's on all of us to make this better." Levi watched from a distance, his small face scrunching in concern. Ignoring her rising anxiety, she turned to call him over. "Levi, come here." He ran towards her, the innocent trust in his eyes fueling Maria's courage. He grabbed her hand, his grip tight and reassuring. "Mom, what's wrong?" "Nothing, sweetheart. Just talking with some of the other parents," she said, her voice softer now, melting into the chaos around them. "I want you to enjoy today." With a nod, he turned back to the other kids, who were still eyeing him with a mix of curiosity and hesitation. Maria noticed a little girl inching forward, her expression uncertain yet friendly. "Do you want to play hide and seek with us?" she asked, her voice timid. Levi's eyes lit up. "Yep." He didn't wait for a response, darting off to join the group. As he ran, Maria felt a rush of a mixture of relief and elation. As the games continued, the initial whispers began to fade again, mingling with the sounds of laughter and fun. Maria focused her attention on Levi, watching as he blended in. Yet just as she started to relax, a sharp jab from behind startled her. "You shouldn't get too comfortable," a voice whispered harshly. It was one of the mothers from before, her tone patronizing, laced with disdain. "Kids can turn on you in a heartbeat. Remember that." Maria's pulse quickened, her mind racing. She glanced at Levi, who was oblivious to the tension. His giggles echoed in the background, pure and bright. She couldn't let any fear shatter this moment for him. "Thank you for your concern," Maria said, her voice low but firm. "But Levi knows who he is, and he knows love. That's what truly matters." The mother scoffed, but Maria looked past her, locking eyes with Levi. His laughter wrapped around her heart, reminding her of what she was fighting for. The rest of the day passed with highs and lows. Maria moved between watching Levi play and standing firm against murmurs from the other parents. At one point, she felt fatigue settle in, the emotional weight threatening to pull her under. But each time she caught Levi's eye, she saw determination shining back at her. As the sun began to dip, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, the party was winding down. Parents gathered belongings, kids shouted their thanks and goodbyes, and Levi clung to her side, his cheeks flushed with excitement. "Mom, can we come again?" he asked, innocence shining bright. His hope resonated deeply in her chest. "Absolutely, Levi," she replied, her voice stronger than before. But deep down, she wondered how far they had come and how far they still had to go. Could her resolve hold against the criticism? Just then, Mrs. Thompson approached them, a gentle smile softening her features. "Maria, I've really enjoyed having you both here. Levi is wonderful." "Thank you," Maria replied, catching a hint of encouragement in her voice. But the question hung in the air: was this acceptance genuine, or just a facade? As they walked toward the car, Maria felt a sense of limbo. They were still standing on the precipice of two worlds, unsure of which way they would fall. But then Levi glanced up at her, and in that moment, she knew no matter the judgments around them, she would always create a safe space for him. But would they be able to navigate the difficult path ahead, or would obstacles drive them apart? She clutched his hand tightly and made her way back through the lingering voices. She would have to find out. Levi bounced in the car seat, the excitement still buzzing through him. "Mom, did you see me? I was the best hider." His laughter was infectious, wrapping around Maria like a warm blanket. "Yes, you were amazing. I could hardly find you," she replied, her heart swelling with pride and love. The day had been full of challenges, but it had also been a turning point. She could feel the heaviness in her chest begin to lift, even if just a little. As they drove, her mind raced back to the harsh words of that mother, the warning that clung to her like a shadow. Was she really ready for what could come next? "Mom?" Levi's small voice broke through her thoughts. "Are we going to have more fun like that? And more parties?" Maria glanced in the rearview mirror, catching his bright eyes sparkling with joy. "Of course, sweetheart. As long as you want to go, we'll find places where you can play with friends." "What about them?" he asked quietly, looking out the window as they passed the colorful balloons still floating at the park they had just left. "Not everyone will understand us, Levi," she said carefully, feeling the weight of her own words. "But we can't let that stop us from enjoying life." He nodded, but the sparkle in his eyes dimmed a bit. "I don't want you to be sad, Mom." A lump formed in her throat. "I want to be sad, honey. Promise. Just sometimes, things can get a little complicated." "Like a puzzle?" he asked, tilting his head, confusion morphing into curiosity. "Exactly." She smiled, leaning into his metaphor. "And we'll piece it together one piece at a time." When they finally arrived home, Maria helped Levi with his backpack. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, jarring her out of the cozy moment. It was a message from Mrs. Thompson, asking if they could meet for coffee the next day to discuss an upcoming school project. "Mom, can we have hot chocolate?" Levi piped up, breaking her concentration. "Sure, how about we make it together?" Maria replied, forcing a smile to mask her rising anxiety about the meeting. She had to keep it together. As they poured the steamy milk and stirred in the chocolate powder, the familiar smells enveloped them. It was comforting, and each small task brought her a moment of peace. But a part of her still wondered about Mrs. Thompson's intentions. Later, as they cuddled on the couch watching a cartoon, Maria's mind wandered. Was Mrs. Thompson truly supportive? Would she advocate for Levi? Or was this just her way of getting intel on Maria and their family? Suddenly, Levi's laughter snapped her back to reality, and she couldn't help but laugh too. He looked up. "Mom, you're not watching." "I know, I'm sorry," she said, ruffling his hair. "So what happened next?" As Levi recounted the plot, his little face animated, Maria felt a sense of calm wash over her. This was the life she wanted for him, a childhood filled with joy, love, and imagination, free of fear and judgment. But lurking in her heart was the uncertainty of what tomorrow would bring. Would things really get better? And could she trust Mrs. Thompson to stand by them? Just then, as they prepared for bed, Maria held Levi close. "I love you, buddy. No matter what." "Me too, Mom," he squeezed her tightly. In that moment, Maria's chest tightened again, the familiarity of fear creeping back. But she banished it, focusing instead on the warmth of his hug. Together they were strong. Yet, could strength be enough when the world was so indifferent? As she tucked him in, the weight of tomorrow loomed over her like a dark cloud, leaving questions sprawling in her head. She closed the door and took a deep breath. Did she have the strength to fight this battle? And most importantly, what would she tell Mrs. Thompson tomorrow? As she settled in bed, sleep evaded her, and the realization struck. Tomorrow could change everything. Would it be a step toward inclusion or another blow to their fragile bond? With thoughts racing, she waited for dawn, knowing it would bring either hope or even more uncertainty. A new chapter in their journey was about to unfold, and she had no idea what lay ahead. Maria woke the next morning with a knot in her stomach. Rays of sunlight peeked through the curtains, illuminating the room and adding an unnecessary warmth to her rising anxiety. She watched Levi, still sweetly asleep, his chest rising and falling softly. The innocence of his dreams filled her with both comfort and dread. Would the day ahead be one of acceptance or conflict? After breakfast, Maria took a moment to gather her thoughts. She thought about the coffee meeting with Mrs. Thompson. What would she say? How could she express her hopes for Levi without feeling vulnerable? She couldn't shake the feeling that this conversation would shape their future. The drive to the coffee shop felt longer than usual. Levi chattered away in the back seat, oblivious to his mother's turmoil. "Mom, do you think we can also get cookies?" he asked enthusiastically, shattering her reverie. "Sure, buddy. Cookies sound great," she managed, forcing a smile she hoped would mask her internal doubts. When they arrived, Maria parked the car and took a deep breath. She could see Mrs. Thompson sitting at a table near the window, a list of papers laid out in front of her. Just as Maria stepped out, a strange flicker of apprehension washed over her. She wanted to trust this woman, to believe that she was there to help and not to judge. Levi's hand grasped hers tightly as they approached. "Mom, remember, you said puzzles are complicated, but we can figure them out." "I'll keep that in mind," Maria replied, squeezing his hand as they walked inside. "Maria." Mrs. Thompson greeted them with a wide smile, standing up to embrace Levi. "You've been such a wonderful addition to our little community." Maria tried to read her expression, searching for sincerity, but it felt like a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. Thank you, it's been a learning experience for us. They settled into their seats, Levi eagerly picking up a menu. Can I have a chocolate chip cookie? He asked, his eyes alight with excitement. Of course, Maria said, feeling a bit of her tension ease while she watched Mrs. Thompson look at Levi with genuine affection. So, I wanted to talk about the upcoming school project, Mrs. Thompson began, her tone professional yet light. We're hoping to create an inclusive program that allows all kids to participate. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can make that happen. Maria's heart beat a little faster. Maybe this was good news. I think that's a wonderful idea. Inclusion means everything to Levi, and I'd be happy to help however I can. Mrs. Thompson nodded. It's vital for kids like him to feel welcomed, to know they are valued. It's not just about the project. It's about changing mindsets in our community, she said, glancing toward Levi who was humming to himself. A glint of hope sparked inside Maria, but she couldn't shake the lingering suspicion that this could turn. What if there are parents who don't agree with this approach? She asked cautiously. Mrs. Thompson met her gaze, her own lively expression dimming slightly. It won't be easy, I won't lie to you, but we must advocate for what's right for our children. They deserve that. The weight of Mrs. Thompson's words pressed heavily on Maria's chest. Were they truly embarking on something transformative? Or would this too lead to a closed door? She shook off the uncertainty, focusing on Levi who was completely immersed in his cookie choice. Suddenly, Mrs. Thompson hesitated. Maria, Levi's strength is inspiring. But I feel it's necessary to tread carefully. There may be others who aren't as welcoming. Maria's blood ran cold. Would they really have to face that kind of judgment? I just want him to be accepted, she whispered, her vulnerability seeping through. We'll fight for that, Mrs. Thompson promised. And for the first time, Maria sensed a genuine alliance forming. As coffee cups emptied, a sense of urgency settled over the table. Questions lingered in the air like a thick fog. Maria's heart raced, her thoughts a jumbled mix of hope and despair. As they departed, Maria felt as if she was on the verge of something significant, an opportunity laden with both promise and peril. Once outside, she turned to Levi. What do you think? Do you feel good about today? His innocent smile lit up his face. It was fun. Can we do it again? Her thoughts whirled. Could they do this? Together? You know what, buddy? Maria said, feeling a swell of determination. Yes, we can. We'll show them who we are. We are a family, and families stick together. But as she watched Levi, a new question emerged in the back of her mind. Would the community embrace them, or would they face rejection? Facing the horizon, she realized this journey had just begun, and she was terrified of what lay ahead. The car ride home was quiet, the kind of silence that hung in the air like a weight. Levi fiddled with his cookie, his eyes darting between the scenery outside and the sweet treat in his hands. Maria glanced at him in the rearview mirror, her heart swelling with love and concern. He deserved every opportunity to shine, yet the uncertainty of the future cast shadows across her mind. Mom? Levi's small voice broke the silence. Do you think I'll make friends at school? Maria's heart ached. She turned slightly, meeting his innocent gaze. Of course, sweetheart. You're wonderful and people will see that. He beamed, but she could sense the weight of his fears, the same ones she carried with her. They arrived home much too soon, and as they stepped inside, Maria busied herself in the kitchen, needing to distract herself from the thoughts swirling in her head. She poured a glass of juice, the sound of liquid filling the cup barely registering. Levi planted himself at the kitchen table, pulling out crayons and sheets of paper. I'm going to draw my project. You know, the one about how everyone can play together. His enthusiasm was infectious, and for a moment, Maria let herself smile, filling with pride. That's a great idea, Levi. I'd love to see it. She nodded, turning around to catch a glimpse of his imagination at work. As he began to color, Maria's phone buzzed on the counter. It was a text from Mrs. Thompson. She opened it with trepidation, her heart racing. Just wanted to say how grateful I am for your support today. Let us meet tomorrow to discuss strategies to present to the school board. I sense some pushback, but I believe if we stand together, we can make a difference. Maria swallowed hard. Pushback. Those words hung ominously in her mind. Depending on the response, everything could change overnight. She typed back a quick acknowledgement and placed the phone down, her mind racing. What if the opposition was too loud? What if her voice couldn't break through that noise? Mom? Levi called again, looking up from his artwork, a scribble of bright colors forming shapes on the paper. Will you help me write my speech? Of course. She replied with newfound energy, joining him at the table. What ideas do you have? They spent the next hour crafting simple phrases and drawing pictures, the joy of creation filling the room. Levi's confidence bubbled over as they worked together, and for that time the world outside faded away. But as the last stroke of crayon landed on the page, the weight of reality returned. What was she doing? She couldn't control what others thought or said. All she could do was support Levi, but was that enough? After dinner, Maria tucked Levi into bed, planting a soft kiss on his forehead. He snuggled into his covers, his little face lighting up. Good night, Mom. Tomorrow is going to be awesome. Good night, love, she whispered, her heart tightening as she stepped outside his room. In the hallway, Maria leaned against the wall, the quiet of the house overwhelming her. She wanted to be strong for Levi, to shield him from the harsh realities that might come their way. The thought of others being unkind made her stomach turn. She had to be prepared. But how? That night, as she lay in her own bed, thoughts raced through her mind like a spinning carousel. What would tomorrow bring? Would Mrs. Thompson's meetings affect their plans? The fear of standing against a tide of disapproval clawed at her. As darkness enveloped her, a flicker of resolve ignited deep within. We'll fight, she whispered into the silence. For him, for us. But as she closed her eyes, another question surfaced: how far would she truly go to protect Levi from the community's judgment? The dawn would bring answers. The next day could change everything. The morning light streamed through the window, casting warm stripes across Levi's room. Maria stirred, her heart pounding as the weight of yesterday loomed large. She hadn't simply been tired. She had been anxious, preparing for what the day might bring. After a quick breakfast of cereal and toast, they walked to the bus stop. Levi chattered excitedly about his project, his voice a bright melody that cut through Maria's tension. But as they waited, she saw other parents mingling, exchanging greetings as they kept a watchful eye on their children. A knot twisted tight in her stomach. Mom, do you think everyone will like my idea? Levi's innocent question pulled her from her thoughts. Absolutely, she said, forcing a smile. Your project is beautiful. It shows the best of you. The bus rolled to a stop, and a mix of excitement and trepidation swept through them. Levi hopped on eagerly, turning back to wave before disappearing inside. Maria stood there, hands tucked into her pockets, wondering if she had done enough. Once home, she paced her living room, glancing at the clock. Time seemed to crawl, every tick of the second hand echoing the fears in her mind. An unshakable feeling settled over her. What if today turned into a battlefield instead of a celebration? The phone rang before she could dismiss her thoughts. It was Mrs. Thompson. The tremor in the woman's voice raised alarm bells in Maria's head. Maria, I think we need to be prepared. I heard some parents have concerns about Levi's presentation. They might not be supportive. A chill ran through Maria. What do you mean? It's just a project about friendship. There are whispers, Maria. Some view it as pushing an agenda. They fear change. You know how close-minded some can be. Her heart dropped. This wasn't just about a school project anymore. It was about acceptance, kindness, and a future where Levi could be himself without fear. We have to stand our ground. Levi deserves to express himself without judgment. Mrs. Thompson agreed, though her voice trembled with worry. I'll support you both, but know there might be pushback. We'll need to be strong together. After hanging up, Maria felt both anger and a fierce determination burning inside her. This was about more than a project. It was about her son's heart. As she prepared for the afternoon, she focused on Levi's artwork, soaked in the colors of his hope and imagination. A phone call to other parents who felt similarly began to take shape in her mind. If they could unite, maybe they could create a wall of love thick enough to shield Levi from unkindness. The moment of truth approached, and Maria knew she couldn't do this alone. She had always been fierce, but now she felt even stronger. She pictured Levi standing there, his bright smile and proud heart ready to share his voice. The clock finally struck the hour. Maria took a deep breath and marched to the school, her heart pounding as hope collided with fear. Would they listen? Would they understand? As she neared the school doors, her resolve wavered slightly. Perhaps the parents' discontent would be too loud, too overwhelming. But as she pushed through the entrance, a familiar face caught her eye. Mrs. Thompson was waiting, and behind her stood a group of fathers and mothers. Maria felt warmth spread through her chest. They were ready to join the fight. Together, they walked to the assembly hall, a mix of apprehension and excitement swirling among them. Would today be the day everything changed? But just as they were about to enter, a voice from the back called out, "Hey, you can't let that kid speak." An uneasy silence fell around them, and Maria's heart sank. What would she say when faced with opposition? She inhaled sharply, steeling herself for whatever came next. Maria felt a wave of heat rush through her as she turned to face the voice behind them. A man, arms crossed and a scowl etched on his face, stood at the back, flanked by a few nodding supporters. Hearts raced in her group, but she couldn't let fear seep into their resolve. This wasn't just about Levi. It was about them all, their shared hopes and dreams. "We're not here to fight," she called out, her voice steady but firm. "We're here for our children to support love, understanding, and creativity." The murmurs in the hall shifted. Some parents looked uncertain, casting glances among themselves. Maria took a step forward, feeling the supportive presence of the others behind her. This project is a celebration of friendship. It's about teaching our kids to accept one another, no matter our differences. "Sounds like an agenda to me," the man shot back, his tone dripping with disdain. Another parent stepped forward, Sarah, her neighbor with bright blue hair. "What's wrong with a little love and acceptance? This is not an agenda. It's about our kids learning to respect each other." Maria felt hope rising within her as several others began to nod in agreement. The tide was shifting. Just then, Mrs. Thompson, usually the calm in any storm, chimed in with a softness that still demanded attention. "Everyone has the right to express themselves, just as our children do. We can't let fear take away their voices." Maria noticed a few parents glancing at each other, uncertain about where they stood. The man scoffed, but his tone lacked the confidence it had before. "Think about Levi," Maria continued, her voice cracking. "Think about what this means for him. He just wants to share something special, something he created with love." The silence grew heavy as the man's eyes bored into hers. Finally, he shifted uncomfortably. "This is not just about your kid," he grumbled. "No, it's about all our kids," Maria replied. "It's about the future we want for them. A future where they can be who they truly are without fear." The crowd behind Maria began to stand a little taller. Some even stepped forward, murmuring their agreement. There was a feeling of unity swelling around them, lighting a small fire in her chest. "Let us show them how strong we are together," Sarah exclaimed, raising her hands. "Our kids deserve this." One by one, more parents nodded. Some even clapped slowly, tentatively at first, and then building in momentum. Maria's heart swelled with pride as hope danced within her. "Let us head inside, everyone," Mrs. Thompson declared, gesturing toward the doors, determination in her voice. Just as they began to move, the man called out with a last-ditch effort to intimidate them. "You think this will end here? I won't let my kids be influenced by your projects." But Maria didn't falter. "Influence is what we make of it. Love clearly wins over fear," she shot back, feeling buoyed by the support around her as they pushed through the doors into the assembly hall. Inside, They saw the cheerful displays of the children's projects. Levi's bright colors greeted her, a jolt of confidence sending shivers up her spine. There he was, chatting with a few classmates, blissfully unaware of the storm outside. But her heart dropped again as she saw the group of resistant parents congregating near the front, whispering and pointing. What would they say to Levi? What would they do to undermine this moment he had worked so hard for? As she took a breath to calm her nerves, she spotted Levi looking her way, his smile illuminating the space between them. It ignited a fierce love inside her. She wouldn't let fear take hold, not today, not ever. Stand tall, Levi, she whispered to herself, heart pounding. The moment of truth was here. She could feel it. And just as the principal stepped up to the podium, ready to start the assembly, a chilling voice echoed across the hall. Now let us see just how far this project has gone. What would happen when Levi stepped up to share his voice amid uncertainty? Would it be enough to sway their hearts? Maria's heart raced as she turned to face the source of that chilling voice. It was the man from before, defiantly seizing the spotlight just as Levi prepared for his moment. The crowd shifted, uncertainty weaving through the air. But Maria stood firm, channeling her love for her son into a fierce determination. She wouldn't let anyone diminish what Levi had worked so hard for. As the principal introduced Levi, her gaze locked onto him. His small frame was poised, ready to step into the light, unaware of the brewing tension in the room. Maria wanted nothing more than to keep that beautiful innocence safe. Levi, the principal called, gesturing him to the stage. The moment Levi stepped forward, a hush fell over the crowd. Maria felt the weight of eyes upon him, her heart hammering in her chest. He looked out, taking a slow breath, his little fists clenched at his sides. "Hi, I'm Levi," he began, his voice sweet and clear, breaking through the heavy silence. "Today, I want to talk about how we can all be friends." Maria swallowed hard, each word a beacon of hope and courage. Nervous glances darted among the parents, the tension occasionally lifting just enough to glimpse the beauty in Levi's spirit. "I know sometimes it's hard to play together. Sometimes people get left out," he continued, his big blue eyes scanning the room. "But I made this project to show that everyone can have fun. It's just better when we're all together." As he spoke, Maria could see how his confidence grew. She could feel the warmth in the room shift, a small pocket of acceptance starting to bloom. He held up his colorful drawings, proudly displaying scenes of children playing together, laughing and sharing joy. "Let us be brave like superheroes. We can make sure nobody feels alone," Levi said, his enthusiasm infectious. Maria fought back tears of pride. But just as he reached the point of his triumph, the challenging voice sliced through once more. "Do you even know what you're talking about, kid? How can you know what everyone feels?" Every fiber in Maria's being screamed to defend Levi. "Because he feels it," she shouted, surprising even herself. The energy in the hall shifted again, surprise mixed with encouragement from some parents. "He carries the weight of understanding that many refuse to see." Levi's eyes widened, and he glanced over at her, eyes full of confidence that melted her heart. "Yeah," he piped up, finding his strength in her voice. "We just want to play, and I just want to be a friend." The man who had cast the first shadow looked momentarily taken aback, and as murmurs grew louder among the audience, Maria could see other parents shifting. The humanity of Levi's words resonated, weaving through their hearts like a lifeline. With newfound energy, Levi continued, "It doesn't matter if you're tall or short, different from me or have a funny laugh. Friends make everything better. Together we can be a team." His sincerity washed over the room, a wave of pure love and innocence. It was palpable. Maria felt entire families soften, the brick walls of prejudice starting to crumble, just as Mrs. Thompson's hand squeezed her shoulder, an encouraging smile spreading across her face. "We can be a team," echoed a chorus of voices from the back, parents stepping forward to join in the affirmation of love and support. "I believe in you," Maria called out, her own heart alight with joy as she witnessed the magic unfolding before her. Levi turned, locking eyes with her. In that moment, she felt a surge of pride burst within her. transforming her fears into unwavering support. The resistance faltered, resistance crumbling into uncertainty. Parents began to nod, whispers of change circulating among them. More allies began to emerge, those who knew well that acceptance was vital for all their children. Levi finished his speech, standing tall, his smile radiant. Let us make our school a happy place where everyone is included. A tide of applause erupted, washing away the lingering doubts. Maria swelled with pride, feeling every joyous clap resonate deep within her heart. Levi beamed, his face lit up like the sun. As they left the stage, hand in hand, Maria felt a newfound hope filling the air around them. The path was still strewn with uncertainty, but together they had sparked a light, a powerful connection born from love, resilience, and understanding. Maria turned to her son, tears gleaming in her eyes. "You did it, Levi. You changed everything." Levi grinned wide, his innocence dancing across his features. "We did it, Mom. We made friends." As the audience buzzed with conversation, parents began reaching out to one another. Maria could feel their walls come down, a reminiscence of shared humanity surfacing. She knew this would only be the beginning of their fight, not against one another, but for the sake of understanding and love, for her son and every other child just like him. Maria felt a weight lift off her shoulders, the fear replaced with determination. Their world was still a puzzle, sure, but now they were piecing together a beautiful picture. "Let us build this together," she whispered to Levi, her heart full, drenching the moment with pride. And as they stepped out of that hall hand in hand, Maria knew a true connection had begun. After all, they were a family bound not by blood, but by an unbreakable bond of love and acceptance. Now is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now if you enjoyed this heartwarming journey. It truly feeds the algorithm. Comment below your reactions and feelings about the ending. What did you think of Levi's speech? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video. Send it to at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.